Here we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Everybody is good as always. Super Bowl is in the books. Those Eagles are the champions, and I couldn't be happier as a Bills fan. Too bad for you Chiefs fans. No three-peat. Makes me happy, but nevertheless, we're talking Dynasty tight ends on the rankings. Top 30. Finish this thing off before the NFL Combine. Things will change. Things will obviously be altered as rookies get involved into the Dynasty ranking. So it's good to see where we are today. Startup drafts do start for a lot of people as well. We do see some early rookie drafts, but we're not quite there yet. I'll give you the rankings for those as well. Let's talk. First one on the board, Brock Bowers, Las Vegas Raiders. And I mean, have we ever seen a rookie tight end have a season like this? Absolutely unbelievable. Breaks the record for receptions in a single season. Almost 1,200 yards, man, with really lackluster QB play. So you got to believe if they get themselves a decent, bona fide, franchise passer, Brock Bowers is just going to take off that much more. 22 years of age, 70% on that boom rate, 206 points. He was an absolute dynamo this season. I don't foresee this changing because the Raiders should only get better now with a Pete Carroll and Tom Brady running the show. I absolutely love me some Brock Bowers. Trey McBride, number 2, Arizona Cardinals. He's picking up massive steam, and the fact that he was the, favorite target of a Kyler Murray basically all season long. A lot of people disappointed with a Marvin Harrison Jr., but I mean, Trey McBride, on the other hand, took every opportunity. 75% on that boom rate, almost 200 points himself. Was number 3, in rankings at the end of the season, only because of a guy named George Kittle upped him by 3 points. But again, 111 receptions, 1146, and only 2 TDs. You get the TD mark up to 6 to 8, we're going to see massive points from a Trey McBride. This should absolutely continue in the desert with a Kyler Murray, with a Marvin Harrison Jr., and they're going to only continue to get better. Trey McBride is definitely one of these guys you got to have on your team. He's so damn good, so reliable. Just got to get in that end zone. Sam Laporta, number 3 for me. Yes, a little bit of a down season, and that's only because, they were spreading the ball around, especially to a JMO. Kind of still believe that that's going to be the MO. New offensive coordinator, no more Ben Johnson. Things could change. So it is going to be definitely up in the air. So if you want to drop Laporta down to 4 or 5, I don't dislike that either, but the talent is there. We've seen the talent in his rookie year. Yes, a little bit of a hiccup. Still got you 60 receptions for over 700 yards, 7 TDs. Only 50% on the boom rate. He definitely did cripple us a lot this year as well. A latter part and latter stages of the season, we saw Sam Laporta pick up his game and get us a lot of points. He is still number 3 for me. Number 4, George Kittle, the people's tight end. Yes, I know he's 31. Yes, I know that's not necessarily great for Dynasty, but this is tight ends, man. He is a top-tier quality tight end still. Almost 200 points, 80% on that boom rate. Best tight end in the market for boom rate consistency levels. You got to love, man. 78 for 1106 and 8 TDs, almost 200 points. He played in 15 games only, so if he played in all 17, he likely would have surpassed a Brock Bowers with ease. But George Kittle still is one of these guys, hasn't really shown any kind of signs of slowing down at this point. And with a Brock Purdy likely going to re-up a contract, Debo on the outs requesting a trade, George Kittle's role is just going to remain the same, if not increase slightly when it comes to target share. Number 5, TJ Hawkinson, Minnesota Vikings. Came back from the injury. I wanted to see that last year. I was extremely down on him, only due in part to the injury and how his recovery would be. Came back no worse for wear, which is nice to see. 27 years of age, still only 30% on the boom rate, but he did miss a lot of time. Was an afterthought as well. So abso-freaking-lutely, we will see what they do if it is J.J. McCarthy or if they do, re-sign a Sam Darnold or go in another direction. TJ Hawkinson's going to have his role barring any health, so he definitely is still one of these guys, still has youth on his side, recovered from a, pretty devastating injury rather quickly, didn't see any setbacks, and next season he should absolutely take off once again. Number 6, Tucker Kraft, Green Bay Packers. You know what, man? The way that this offense goes in Green Bay, don't dislike the 6th rank. I could put Mark Andrews above, but I'm going strictly youth here. 24 years of age in an offense with the Packers that should only get better, continue to get better as they look to add more wide receiver talent that is in that alpha range. Tucker Kraft definitely showcased the fact he can be trusted in matchup play in a big way. He did fade down the stretch because they were, more so of a run-heavy squad. And I don't know, that should continue, but I mean, the way Josh Jacobs even talking, saying we need someone to take over the game because he can't run the football like he did every single year like last year. Tucker Kraft definitely on the rise for me at number 6. Mark Andrews, number 7, coming off a disastrous drop in the playoff game versus my Buffalo Bills. This is the interesting situation for a Mark Andrews. The Baltimore Ravens could legit cut this man or trade this man this offseason to save cap dollars, as he does have a heaping of cap savings if that was to transpire. They got an Isaiah Likely in the waiting as well, so we could see him run it back one more season until he's the age of 30, and then they'll move on. Typically, we don't see the Ravens go past the second contract for their tight ends, and now the fact that they do got Isaiah Likely, who is going to be coming up for contract next year as well, you got to think that this is definitely on the table if they want to increase and get better on other sides of the ball. Mark Andrews could be an afterthought, means he could be playing for somebody else as well. He did start the gates out really slow, ended up being a waiver wire priority for a lot of us. I mean, dropped from a lot of teams, but under 60% on that boom rate. One of his worst seasons statistically outside of touchdowns. Came back in a big way down that second half. 11 TD scores. Still puts him at the number 7 spot for me. Number 8, Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo Bills. This is still a stretch for me. I'm not giving up on the man just yet. This is going to be a big tell season for me. If Dalton Kincaid doesn't get out of his own way and stop dropping footballs, and the Bills definitely got to integrate this man a little bit more. 23% on that boom rate. He was killing us this year. But, I mean, the skill set is still definitely here for him to increase and improve this next season. Josh Allen also mentioned that he's got to get him more involved, try to get him more involved in the pass game. So we'll see how, the Bills do move forward with it. I didn't like basically any part of his game this year. Dealt with some injuries as well. But at number 8, I think it is fair due to youth and Bills' offensive upside. Evan Ingram, number 9 for me, coming off an injury as well. Okay, we got to get the Trevor Lawrence effect back, man, because when Evan Ingram's on the field, we know he's a target pig. The year prior, he was, over 100 receptions as well. We know Evan Ingram when he's on the field with a Trevor Lawrence who is seeing the field properly. Evan Ingram's definitely going to give us the point totals that we require. I got him here. He's 30 years of age, but again, now when we're at this point from anywhere from 9 to 20, you're talking about, tight ends that can give you the upside rather than just rolling into the end zone 5 times and trying to crack the top 10. Evan Ingram definitely still has that big upside, 47, 365, and 1 touchdown. Very much a down year for an Evan Ingram, but I still think that there is at least 2 to 3 good seasons left in this man. If you want to shop him services, I would definitely recommend it. See if you can get that value back, but at this point, people are going to bottom dollar you for it, so you might as well keep an Evan Ingram at number 9. Number 10, Dallas Goedert, Philadelphia Eagles. With the ascension of a Saquon Barkley in this offense, everybody took a haircut in this past game. Dallas Goedert also missed some time due to injury, only played in 10 contests, 82 points. So for me, again, here's a Mark Andrews situation, but for the Philadelphia Eagles, they will be looking potentially to move on from Dallas sooner rather than later. I foresee him being on the Eagles squad this year. I do believe there are some outs on his contract as well. But we know, man, the way they did Zach Ertz, they're going to do the same thing with the Dallas Goedert. They're not going to invest this high-end money for a tight end when they can have somebody in the stable with a similar skill set in an offense that does have Smitty, A.J. Brown, and a Saquon Barkley. You just got to have a guy that can catch passes for you. So for me, that's the reason for the drop. But Dallas, when he is on the field, still very much quality in pass-catching upside. Number 11, Cade Otton. I would jump a Cade Otton above a Dalton Kincaid into number 8. I really would. The only issue is that when we saw Mike Evans come back from his injury, Chris Godwin's going to likely be back from his injury. There's not enough balls to go around to force feed this man, and that's the biggest problem I have, especially with the run attack, that with Bucky Irving, with a Rashad White. I mean, when Cade Otton was the, number 1 target in this offense due to injury, he was eaten every single week. And then when guys started getting healthy and coming back, even the, progression of a Jalen McMillan definitely takes bread out of his mouth as well. So number 11 is fair value for me at this point. Still had his best season, up 111 points. He can still be trusted, but we'll see how much in this next season. Number 12, David Njoku. Finally, we're seeing, the goods come out of him. But again, injuries still continue to pile up. Who who's going to be the quarterback for these Cleveland Browns this season. Deshaun Watson tears his Achilles, and I mean, Jameis Winston likely done with the Cleveland Browns as well. So it's like Flacco, it's Kirk Chains. Who else we got on the board that they're going to bring in to play quarterback? So you're going to really hover around the 100 points to 125 points for a David Njoku, barring any health as well. So that's why I got him at number 12 at this point. Number 13, Jonnu Smith, Miami Dolphins, coming off his best campaign. I could lift him up, but age and situational football definitely does play a big part here. He's only got one more year left on his contract with these Dolphins. Will he re-up in Miami after this season? We'll see. If he does get a new contract this offseason as an extension, then maybe I will move him up the board because he will be more so a fixture in this offense. But without the contract, he could go to another club like the Falcons, like the Titans, and just be that middle range guy, man. 178 points. I'm definitely foreseeing a haircut coming his way, especially if a Tyreek Hill does get back on track. More targets going to him, which will be removed from a Jonnu Smith. Very much a quality season. It's just at this point, we got to, count age, count circumstance into play for Jonnu Smith. Number 14, Kyle Pitts. And I get it, everyone's going to say drop him out of the top 30, but I'm not willing to give it up as well. I did drop him down where I could have had him above, a K-Dot and put him at number 11. There is still massive upside, 24 years of age. He has one 1,000-yard season in his career. He needs to change his scenery in the worst way. Get out of Atlanta. It's just not working. We'll see if it does happen with a Michael Penix. I don't know. Maybe it is a Kyle Pitts. Maybe he is the problem, and maybe that is the issue. So at this point, at 14, I'm still willing to buy super low on a Kyle Pitts, hoping for those high-end returns. But at this point, I mean, you got to see that maybe the writing is going to be on the wall. And Kyle Pitts at 14 is great value to buy, not necessarily to sell if you want to wait it out and see. But I mean, we've been seeing quite a bit of nothing doing for a Kyle Pitts. It is a big problem. Number 15, Pat Freiermuth, the Moot. I would raise Pat Freiermuth into the top 10 with ease as well until they figure out this quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. I can't do it, man. Muth has got so much skill, so much ability for the red zone upside. They just don't utilize the man near enough. And this year, 35% on that boom rate. So he was only hitting in those games where you're seeing his stat line be 65 for 653 and 7 touchdowns. It's a nice stat line for a tight end, but the point is he got majority of that in his 6 contests that he did hit in. So it's just one of these things. When he hits well. When he doesn't, he's really hurting us, and we can't necessarily promote it. So that's why I got him at 15 until otherwise noted at the quarterback spot, what they do, how they're going to move forward, how the offensive scheme is. I am not an Arthur Smith fan whatsoever. So until then, we got to have Pat Freiermuth here at number 15. Isaiah Likely at 16 for me, and I would definitely see him as a wink high riser depending on what happens with a Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews definitely, like I said already, could be on the way outs earlier than expected in Baltimore, and Likely has showcased the fact he is a true tight end one in this offense with Lamar Jackson and company. He has got great receiving upside, great receiving ability. 25% on the boom rate's not making us feel warm and fuzzy. It's just a target share, limited target share that he does get in this offense at this point. But definitely he is going to be a massive high riser. Buy low now on an Isaiah Likely. Get him on your roster and then wait and see what happens in the future in the next 2 years. Travis Kelce, number 17. We could drop him even lower. Retirement rumors are creeping up after they lost the Super Bowl. 35 years old. We see the play on the field. He has aged. He's gotten slow. He's not the same player he once was. Can he still play in this league? Sure he can. I mean, he still put up good numbers, 97 for 823 and 3 touchdowns. It's just age has crept up on the man. We know eventually he does run it back one more year, but do the Chiefs even want him back the way that he was performing? So at this point, Travis Kelce, you got to shop him at right today. And before the news comes out that he does retire and he announces it, I would try to get as much as you possibly can, regardless on if it's picks or players. Get Travis Kelce off your team immediately. Number 18, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Cowboys. And there is a guy named Luke Schoonmaker that I'm a huge fan of as well. So keep in mind with that when Jake Ferguson's contract does come up for renewal. Who are they going to go? Are they going to go for Schoonmaker? Are they going to let Schoonmaker go as well? We will see, because the Dallas Cowboys do have financial issues. Ferguson did have some injuries this year as well. Definitely when Dak went down, it was not a good situation. Ferguson is a good quality tight end. With somebody like a Dak Prescott, he can definitely be finishing within the top 12 of tight ends. But this year, I got him at 18 only because of circumstance and situation. How are these Cowboys going to operate? I mean, there's a big bunch of question marks with them. So 18 for me off a down season is quite reasonable. Number 19, Hunter Henry, New England Patriots. He's not on many boards at this point, and he did have some disappearing act this year and lost some traction to an Austin Hooper in this, patch-made solution at, wide receiver and tight end in New England. Where the upside does continue to rise, even though he is 30 years of age, is with a Drake May. Love me some Drake May. This offense should be able to move forward with the new coaching staff. Hopefully it's going to improve everything around him, and Hunter Henry should be an absolute, gem, red zone opportunity guy. Lots of targets to come his way in this offense. Help out a Drake May in a big way. I'm still on board with a Hunter Henry. Just I'm not ranking him too high anymore, because it is very much like a Pat Freiermuth, up and down, week to week, 43% on that boom rate. You see what I'm talking about. Cole Kmet, number 20. I get it. I could rise him too because of a Ben Johnson. I just got to see it to believe it at this point. Cole Kmet has been so frustrating. They paid the man. They don't use the man. 17% on the boom rate. He does not hit for us, period. It's such a difficult situation. You think he's going to play well. He gets 20 points in one game. Everyone's back on the wagon thinking he's going to be a fixture in this offense, and then he disappears again for like 6 weeks, and you're like, what the hell do I do with this man? So at right now, until otherwise seen and noted, I mean, in this Ben Johnson offense with a Caleb Williams, we did see that Caleb, if it is true that he was basically running his own film sessions without the offensive coordinator last year, that's pretty bad, man. So you got to feel that there should be improvements with a Ben Johnson for a Cole Kmet, especially the way they utilized a Sam Laporta in Detroit. Noah Gray at 21, the eventual potential replacement for a Travis Kelce. He was one guy that was a waiver wire hot topic, midway point of the season as he was starting to, gain a lot of snaps and some traction. He got himself 40 receptions for 437, 5 TDs. Yes, the boom rate for a backup tight end, you're going to say it's low because it is low. But, I mean, he's definitely a high riser, going to be playing with a Patrick Mahomes. If he gets number one tight end snaps, we could absolutely see very similar numbers like a Kelce did put up. And I think it's a definite warrant. Get Noah Gray on your team as well. The Chiefs may add another tight end, but the fact that they like to build within their system with playmakers like this, Noah Gray is definitely showcased that he can take over the role. Number 22, Jatavion Sanders, Carolina Panthers, one of my favorite rookies coming out of this past draft. I'm a huge fan, Texas Longhorn product. 21 years of age, he was picking up steam as Bryce Young was moving until he fell on his neck. He had that really bad injury. I think he did come back at the end, but definitely was not the same player. But Jatavion Sanders is one of these youthful tight end products that we can potentially trust. Got a lot of skill. He's kind of like a likely type of tight end. Got a lot of, but I want to say he's even stronger and able to bulldoze guys as well. Jatavion Sanders with the ascension of a Bryce Young. I'm definitely seeing him rise up my board. Number 23, Ben Sinnett. This one is futures, man. Okay, he did not see the field very much this year because of somebody like a Zach Ertz, but the eventual takeover, will Zach Ertz be back with these commies this year, or will Sinnett be ready to go? That is the question mark. I'm a huge fan of this kid. He's a converted fullback. His hands are great. He's got good blocking abilities, very tough-nosed, very good in the yak upside. Love me some Ben Sinnett. If they can get him on the field and get him some targets, you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Continuing with the youth is Theo Johnson, New York Giants. Until he went down, he started picking up steam, started seeing some targets. I love the draft class that they did have with a Malik Neighbors, with a Tyrone Tracy, Theo Johnson. Very good upside in these offensive players, and there is a lot to like about Theo. And he went down with that injury, season-ending injury. So, I mean, hopefully he gets his legs under him, get a little bit more, weight in the weight room. He's going to be a good one as well. Pure offensive upside for Theo Johnson. Lots of good things to like about his game. Chig Okonkwo, Tennessee Titans. Only if they'd use the man. If they use the man more consistently, he would put up ginormous numbers because this man runs like a wide receiver in a tight end's body. He is very good, very put together. They just don't utilize the man well enough. Who's going to be the quarterback? Are they going to go for a Ward? Are they going to run it back with a Will Levis? Are they going to go to the free agent market, sign another quarterback? it's just one of those things. We've seen it, man, already for a couple seasons. 29% on the boom rate, just not near enough to trust. He does hit when he does hit, but he's basically sitting on the waiver wire or on your bench in Dynasty. So at this point, I got to still have Chig at 25, only due to circumstance. Mike Gesicki, 29 years of age. Okay, one of his best seasons with the Bengals. Is he going to return to the Cincinnati Bengals? And I mean, again, here's the situation. He does play, and then he's an afterthought. He does play, he's an afterthought. Under 30% for the boom rate. It's just not consistent enough, and that's basically been the MO for a Gesicki throughout his entire career. I'm not trusting it. You guys can. At this point, he's a fill-in, bye-week player and matchup upside only. Jawan Johnson, New Orleans Saints. I believe he's a free agent as well, so there is potentially does re-up with the Saints. Now that a Taysom Hill did go down with that knee injury, Taysom may, retire as well, being that he's in his mid-30s as well. Juwan's a good talent. He kind of falls into that Chig Okonkwo type of situation. I think he's got so much athletic ability, just not utilized near enough to trust at this point. Zach Ertz, he had a phenomenal season with the Commies, 144 points. Age at 34. I mean, how much is left in the tank? We didn't see necessarily massive worse for wear, but is he going to come back with the Commies? Where will he go? Will his role be the same? Big question marks in this offseason. So for me at this point, the end is near more than it is close. So he is here at number 28. Number 29, Dalton Schultz. Not much left for Dalton Schultz for me to promote anymore. He is, 3 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown at best on his best days. Otherwise, it's 4 catches for 35, no touchdowns. That's what you're getting week in, week out from a Dalton Schultz, so he's not necessarily one I'm trusting in fantasy football much anymore. Number 30, Michael Mayer to finish it off. Las Vegas Raiders potential. He could be dealt to another team as well, or they kind of run it back with dual tight end sets, but I do think a change of scenery would do this man wonders. Still 23 years of age, dealt with some mental health issues this past season. If he does get on the field, he's got offensive upside. Not much for the blocker side, but he does have a good amount of offensive punch that he could round out to be a decent fantasy players. But there you have it. That is fantasy tight end rankings for Dynasty. My top 30. Again, rookie combine is coming in only 2 weeks. Y'all get ready. Going to be dropping a bunch of scouting reports, some free agent talk. We got you loaded for the offseason. Definitely is going to be something special, but nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.